pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, we come to you tonight to do the business of the water system on behalf of its 17,000 plus members. There is a lot going on in the world. Our hearts go out to those affected by the floods in Texas. In fact, there's even a business in the south part of the county that is collecting items and donations to take out there. In addition, we've lost a member of our water system, shockingly, Jim Katsiolka, and they most recently had a bereavement, and now his wife, Lori, has more. So if you could keep that family in your prayers and all of the families of the children in Texas and everything that is going on that seems so wild now. Help us do the business tonight of the water system, applying our knowledge, skills, and abilities to this effort. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight for the July on of our water system meeting. And I would just like to say that we do have a quorum. We have all the current board members here. Audio and video recorders are in use, and we just ask that if you are going to, you want to address the board, that you would please sign the member form sign-up sheet, which is currently in the lobby up there. So, and we will recognize you when it's time. The first order of business is to approve minutes and transcripts. The June 17th meeting, we had a closed executive session right before the regular meeting. So we've got the closed executive session minutes, unredacted and redacted. They were regarding one of the employees. And then after that, we had the regular meeting. So it'll be the June 17th regular meeting minutes and transcripts. And I do believe, Ms. Reynolds, you have some input?
Yes, Mr. President. First, the June 17th unredacted executive session minutes. I move for approval of those.
Okay. Do I have a second for the closed executive session minutes?
Second.
Any other comments or discussions from the board?
I had sent an email that I believe there was a motion regarding having the contract reviewed prior to that. I'd like to see if they could be amended to include review by the HR attorney for the contract to be reviewed.
Okay, she added that in there.
Okay, oh, they
Sure
added it.
did, yeah.
All right, thank you.
I think during the minutes, we were taking notes. It was just an assumption that it would have to be run through legal first anyway, so that's probably why I didn't get added in.
Thank you. No other discussion.
Okay, awesome. So she was able to add that. And any other comments or concerns about the minutes from the closed executive session? All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the minutes for the closed executive session on June 17th have been approved. And Ms. Reynolds, you have some input on the regular meeting minutes.
Yes, Mr. President, I sent back to the staff some items, just minor spelling things, and there was an absence of a second to a motion. They probably went back and picked that up and put it in. Okay, great. Before we approve this, just a couple notes. There was a reference by the insurance representative about vehicle losses, and I just wondered what he was referring to, if we could get some clarification on that.
not immediately sure what you're referring to. I think you're talking about claims history related to the auto renewals. He was probably referencing that.
So do we have a lot of claims history on the vehicles?
I wouldn't say it's more than normal. I don't have that information in front of me.
Okay. It was just a question, and in our inventory, how many vehicles do we have approximately?
40-something.
40
And I recall one or two minor incidents throughout all of last year, so I don't think there was a major claim. There wasn't a major issue that I'm aware of.
And then he referred to the lift stations, that there shouldn't be a problem with them because they're flush on the ground. What's concerning is the underground piping. My take on that was it was an overgeneralization, because some of the grants I look at talk about, for safety reasons, operationally, some water systems elevate those lift stations. Mr. Wells, could you comment on the keeping them on the ground? Have you ever seen them lifted? I've seen those in...
Well, I have seen them in low-lying areas where the wet well is extended well above the natural grade of the ground, just to keep them from flooding. And we have a couple that I can think of off the top of my head that are similar to that,
but we
no
could,
more than a couple of feet in our franchise area. That I'm sure there's probably some in ECOA and other municipalities that are 4 or 5 foot above grade.
Okay, so it's possible that we could look at some of those for elevation if we really wanted to. So what happens if they're inundated with water?
And you get I&I.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we actually, the board approved work on lift station number 1 to do just that.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's finished that work yet, but that's the type of projects we do look at for our lift station.
Mark's raised a few of them since
Yeah.
he's been here. So.
Yeah.
Okay. And there was comments by Director Miller about readjusting and aligning the insurance start dates. Have we identified a suspense listing so we don't forget about that?
I believe we did that on several of the policies.
Yes, most of the club's policies that were renewing in May and June are now July 1, so those are all in line. We do have a few that's like October, November timeline, so we will, when it comes to that time, we will be adjusting.
Okay, great. Final question. He referred to things we could self-initiate with regard to the club at Hidden Creek, and he talked about self-funding hurricane clips, hurricane straps to make it more formidable in a storm, since we're not covering that for wind. Do we, or is that in our anticipated actions?
Yeah, I think we haven't done that yet, but that would be part of something we'd look at in the future. We probably have to get someone to go up in that attic and look at it, architect or structural engineer or somebody. But yeah, it's a good idea, and we'll look into that.
Thank you. That concludes my remarks, Mr. President.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
Ms.
sir.
Reynolds. Anybody else have any concerns about the meeting minutes? All right, do I have a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes and transcripts?
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Reynolds. We appreciate that. Approval of memberships. June, new memberships were 346. That's quite a bit. Canceled memberships were 333, and we had 1 transfer. Do I have a motion to approve the new memberships?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any concerns, discussion from the board? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes. All right, moving right along, we go down to unfinished business. 2025 Holland Bar Water System election, and this is about the litigation. I'm going to call on Mr. Will Dunaway, our attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just actually called up the order
Today, the order was granted on the motion for substitution of counsel. It indicates, and I'll just read it, this is from Circuit Judge Scott Duncan. It was ordered in a judge that John B. Trawick shall be substituted as counsel for defendant Holly Navarre Water System, Inc., and William Dunaway shall be allowed to withdraw as defendant's counsel and is relieved of any further obligation in the matter. And that was signed this morning and filed today. As you know, that is because I was listed as the first witness on the witness list that was filed with the court from Ms. White, the plaintiff in the lawsuit. That meant that I would not be able to continue as your counsel. Mr. Trawick and I have a scheduled meeting on Thursday morning to turn over the file and to bring him up to speed. He will be handling the case from today's date forward.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
And to remind the board and the public, the final evidentiary hearing is September the 11th at 1 p.m. at the Santa Rosa County Courthouse.
September 11th. All right, interesting. All right. And because, and Will explained it just then, just to let the members know, because Will is a witness, we had to select another attorney to represent the water company until this litigation is complete.
And your CEO approved his engagement letter earlier this week.
Okay, good. All right.
Mr. President,
Yes, Ms. Mills.
do we know what the expenditures are at this point for this litigation? Can we know that?
Do we have a, Barbara, do we have a roundabout figure for how much this litigation has cost us so far?
It is,
The number I had in my head for this matter was 11,600 ballpark.
that's
And that's just for this particular matter. Keep in mind, there was additional legal costs because we did another election
Right.
because of the snowstorm. That's not part of what would be 11,000.
Yes.
So,
Mr. Chairman, I, for my invoices, for the purposes for the CEO, each matter that is separate, I open a new matter so that is, those fees are segregated. So for instance, I have a matter that is just for the board, that for my capacity in representing you here. But for the litigation, we have a separate matter. We have had a separate matter for other events that came up that warranted it being, so we know what those costs were. So
Okay.
we definitely have all of that segregated, and it's easy to do. And of course, we invoice the company monthly, and the CEO has those.
Okay. I think going forward, it'd be a great idea to have that number out so the members can see exactly how much this litigation is costing us. And remember, the litigation is because we put restrictions on the proxy votes so that we could make sure and verify each proxy was from a member. So it was done strictly because of the election and because of the keeping as much integrity as we possibly could with these proxies. So this lawsuit about the proxies
Is ongoing and therefore ought to let it play out.
So just reminding folks why we're having this.
And I'm going to say that $11,000 that's been spent to date is just the start, because if we are engaging a new attorney to represent us, that attorney is going to have to get up to speed, and the retainer that it'll take to get him, up to the same point that Will is already at, is just more legal expense that we're going to have. But it is what it is. But it's going to be well above 11,000, I'm sure.
All right.
I have another question, Mr. President. I'm not sure I'm allowed to speak directly to council over there, so I will ask you, Mr. President, is it appropriate in the course of this to ask for attorney's fees if, depending on the outcome of the litigation?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
In other words,
Can we get the attorney's fees back is what
are
she's
we
asking.
entitled to
If you're
getting any
successful.
of our
If we're
attorney's fees
successful.
back?
In Florida, attorney's fees are available if there is a contract, which there is no contract in this regard, or if a statute authorizes it. And in this case, no statute authorizes it.
All
Okay.
right.
And for the record, could you please state the full name of the plaintiff?
The plaintiff is Miss Romy White.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. All right, let's move on down to new business. We have a CEO update from Mr. Jeff Bridler.
Yes, I'll just update one item. We are looking at initiating a energy audit at our wastewater plant to see if we can come up with any energy savings there. Clinton and I had a good meeting with FPL last Friday about our rate structure at the plant. They presented us a couple options. We'll be reviewing those and see if any of those make sense and potentially result in any savings. The actual energy audit will be done by the Florida Rural Water Association, and I was emailing with them today trying to get their site visit scheduled. So we're looking to get that scheduled here in the next week or so and get that kicked off. Of course, it'll take them a month or two to do their report and evaluation, but so that's off to a good start there. So that was all I had for CEO update tonight.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, could I want to be precise with Ms. Reynolds' question. The plaintiff's name is Romy Crane White. You asked for the full name. R-O-M-I, middle name, C-R-A-I-N, last name White, W-H-I-T-E.
Thank you, Mr. Dunaway.
Thank you.
All right, moving along, we'll go down to the director's update.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I would like to make a comment about the CEO's report and commend him and his staff for the follow-up on this, because I think this is exactly what our members expect. Cost saving, cost cutting, looking into ways to maintain economies and efficiencies, and we thank you very much, you and Mr. Wells, for following up on that. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay. We'll move down to director's update, and we're going to start with the Finance Committee update. Ms. Pam Hardy.
The Finance Committee met Thursday, July the 11th, to evaluate the financial reports for May concerning the capital improvement projects, as well as comparison between the budget and operating and maintenance expenses. The total revenues have slightly decreased in comparison to 2024, and it's primarily due to the grant proceeds for the Eglin project received in 2024. In May, the capacity fees for the water and wastewater systems increased compared to last year. Additionally, there has been a rise in sales for both water and wastewater services. The growth can be attributed to the rate increase that was approved in 2025. Total expenditures for general and admin expenses decreased in 2025 compared to 2024, and this is largely due to a pension contribution in 2024 that hasn't happened this year. Mark Miller will provide an update on the comparison between the 2025 budget and operational maintenance expense, and while Carmen Reynolds will report on the progress of the capital improvement for May.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Hardy. Let's move on to capital improvements. Ms. Carmen Reynolds.
Yes, that is me. And because the staff does such a good job of keeping everything in line, we are in line, but I will say Director Hardy's comments about slightly decreased revenue, that is a concern. So toward that end, I am submitting to the CEO and Mr. Wells a proposal for revenue generation ideas, and that should be submitted within the next week to 10 days, and that may help us in offsetting some of the decreased revenue. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, budget, O&M.
Yeah, the Budget Committee met and went over the budget year-to-date through May, and we're tracking right along, where we should be at around, 40 to 42% or so of the total budget for the year. One thing that I'd point out is water sales were down a little bit, but in the summer the water sales pick up. So June and July the water sales will likely be over what was forecast. So that should even out. But the total budget gain loss was at 54%. So we're actually ahead of where we should be on our income less expenses. So we're doing really well.
Nice. All right, next up is the pension and 401k plans, Mr. Matthews.
Yes, Barbara sent me the snapshot, and everything looks good. Making money.
We made all the, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
But
go
we
ahead,
made
go
all
ahead.
the contributions that we need to make so far this year.
Yeah.
For the,
We have an amount budgeted, we have not made a contribution in 25 yet. We
Okay.
don't have to.
we don't have to.
But the board will consider later this year if they would
Okay.
like to.
That's what I was
Okay.
thinking, yeah. Thank you. The regional reuse project, we're going to talk about that in length in just a second, so we'll skip over that, and we'll go to Mr. Miller again for the club at Hidden Creek Management Board.
Yeah, the club at Hidden Creek Management Board met, and we reviewed finances, projects, advertising, a lot of different items. Key points to point out: we started out the year with January and February being a little, kind of down months, but as of year to date, at the end of June, we were only 8% under what our budget was for the year. And our expenses were 18% under budget, so we actually were had a higher profit than what we had budgeted, and we're also both on revenue and expenses doing better than we were in 2024. Year over year, we're looking really good. As far as major projects, we've got on our agenda tonight to approve some new cart paths out there. That's one of our items that they're working on getting done out there. So that'll be later on our agenda.
Yeah, looking at the numbers for May, it looks like we had a pretty strong month.
It was
For
May and June were good out at the golf course, and July started out good too.
Yeah, that's good. All right, next we're going to go to the Fairpoint Regional Utility System Representative, Mr. Krigler.
Really not a lot to report there. We have our booster pump station projects are moving forward. There's a site on 399 that you may see activity going on. We have a concrete slab poured there. We'll be delivering the booster pump station out there hopefully in the next couple of weeks. And then the site down in Midway is a little bit behind that, but we hope we'll get that station delivered out there sometime in mid to late August. But those are moving forward nicely now.
Nice. And next up is Municipal Engineering Services, Mr. Bill Phillips.
I don't know that I have anything special to report. We're busy, and insurance is the business of the day, and that's
Right.
that's an agenda item tonight. So.
Okay. All right. All right, moving right along, let's get to agenda item number 3, finance. Review of the May 2025 financials. Mr. Krigler?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'll let Barbara cover our financials for May.
All right, nothing out of the norm to report other than what the committee did. Thank you guys, you did awesome again. Total revenue for May was $1,446,673. Total expenses of $1,045,801 with a total net operating income of $400,872. Good enough.
All sure everybody's had a chance to review the financials. Do I have a motion to approve May 2025 financials for the Holly Bar Water System?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or concerns from the board? No. All right. So we have a motion and a second to approve the May 2025 financials. If you want to approve, say aye.
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 And that sounds unanimous, so the motion passes. And we're going to scoot to the next item. All right. Item number 4, operations. The main bypass east side of the plant, Mr. Krigler. This is the water treatment plant.
Yeah, so this is a force main project that we briefed the board on last month. Basically, we had found an issue with our main incoming force main into the plant that warrants some immediate attention. What we propose doing is constructing a bypass around this portion of force main, similar to what we did last summer on the line coming in from the west. So this will essentially give us the flexibility to route those flows around this damaged section of pipe. This bypass would have to be constructed anyways when we do the ultimate construction. So it's almost like a phase 1 of the project to replace the piping. So we already have the bypass from the west in place. This will do the bypass for the line coming in from the east. And then we'll do the actual pipeline replacement, hopefully early 2026. We got 2 bids for this work. We're recommending award to the low bidder tonight in the amount of $133,705.74 to Pensacola Concrete Construction.
And this was something that we were going to do anyway, right?
Yeah, I'll touch on the budget items. We budgeted $300,000 in this year's unrestricted for the whole pipeline replacement. But when we started doing investigation for that work, we found the additional problem on the main influent line. So we really need to construct this bypass now. It would have to be done anyways because you've got to bypass it to build a new line. So it's really the first part of the force main replacement. So what we'll do is we'll use this year's budget item, $133,000 of the $300,000, and we'll probably need a little bit more in 26 to do the entire project, but it should work out nicely.
So the $300,000 we put aside just for that west side to be completed, correct?
Yes.
So, okay.
What was the other bid that came in? I didn't see.
135. It should be in there.
135? Yeah, I didn't see
Yeah.
LK's in there, but I was just curious how close it came.
Yeah, 135.5 versus 133.7.
Okay.
So pretty tight bids. The majority of the cost here is an insert a valve that we have to put in. Essentially, there's no way to shut that line off, so we have to our contractor will hire a subcontractor that does a specialty equipment that essentially inserts a valve on an existing line without taking the line out of service.
Okay. Any questions, Ms. Carter?
I motion for approval if there's no other discussion.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve, and we have a second. Any further discussion or questions from the board? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes. Yeah, good work, guys. It's great that we caught it before we had all kinds of issues like we did with that the west side. So good job. Item number 5, the CIP proposed Jacobs Construction admin fee amendment 2. This is the Santa Rosa Regional Reuse Project, and I'll let Mr. Krigler explain what's going on with this.
Yes, so Jacobs is the consultant on our Eggman project. They did the design. The other portion of their consulting work is to provide construction administration services. This involves all field inspection, all the correspondence with the contractor during construction, as well as approving things like pay requests and change orders before they're sent to us for approval. So there's several different things they do during construction. And essentially, there's been really four things that have happened that have taken additional resources on their part. First being the additional coordination with Eglin Air Force Base for the easement that we've talked about for a long time, which is still not in hand. Jacobs has had to expend additional resources to work on that. The second thing is the Phase 1 project was not originally a Phase 1A and 1B. We split that into two phases based on some timing and some other factors. That caused some additional effort for them. Instead of one bid package, they had to create two sets of plans, two sets of contract documents, manage two different contractors. So that was additional effort there. The board may recall when we did Phase 1A, we bid that twice. The first time we bid it, we only got one bidder. We bid it again, and then I believe we got 3 bids, if I'm not mistaken. But that was additional effort on Jacobs' part to go through that bidding process, advertising the project, going to the pre-bid meeting, reviewing the bids, all that kind of stuff. And then the last thing and the biggest thing is just the time. Phase 1 was originally planned for 16 months. We're currently now at 21 months. And if this thing wraps up in first quarter of 2026 like we think, it'll be at 26 months. So it's just taken a longer time than we thought. They're having to do construction services, continuously while the project's ongoing. So they submitted a request for some additional construction administration funds. We reviewed it. We feel it's reasonable. I want to, add a few things. The first is that this is a time and materials task, meaning they only will use the money if needed. If they get through this and only spend 80% of it, they won't charge us the whole amount. They'll just charge us for what they need. The other thing I'd like to add is that, keep in mind is that this portion of the project falls under our cost share agreement with Santa Rosa County. So really, we're asking for an approval of $85,000 essentially, but keep in mind that with the cost share, about $47,600 of that is the Holly Navarre share of the cost. So for all those reasons, we feel like they're due these additional funds. So we're asking the board to authorize that additional fee tonight.
Since this is a cost share situation, does the county have to buy into this at all? Or I think our contract says we're in charge of doing all this.
This part of it, yes.
This part of it, yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure.
Seems fair, Phil. You don't have any concerns?
No.
Don't have any concerns?
No, I believe they're entitled to what they're asking for.
Just making sure.
Absolutely.
Check in.
Okay. Any, Ms. Carmen, you have something?
No, Mr. President, I was going to motion for approval.
Okay.
Second.
All right, so we have approval in a second to authorize the additional fee in the amount of $85,050 for Jacobs Engineering for the Santa Rosa Regional Reuse Project. Any further questions or discussion from the board? All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes. It'd be nice when this project is done, won't it?
Starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
All right, the next item is something Mr. Krigler brought to my attention, and I thought, personally, it was a fantastic idea, and I'm gonna let him explain what we're talking about. Disaster Assistance, Florida A. Warren, Mutual Aid Agreement. Mr. Krigler.
Yeah, so this after the 2004 hurricane season, I think there was 3 hurricanes at least that hit in the state, impacted the utilities in the state dramatically. So after that, the utilities got together and they came up with what I call an agreement or a consortium of utilities to allow utilities to either give help or receive help after a storm event, depending on their circumstance. So this entity, it's called Florida Warren. It's backed by the state as well, DEP, and it really is just the kind of the communication protocol and information sharing and coordination. It doesn't really have any real staff. It's really just the utilities that come together. So to be able to either receive help or give help, you have to have what's called a mutual aid agreement on file with the state, with Flaw Warren. And I'd like to point out that this doesn't commit us to anything. If there was an event where either we wanted to receive help or give help, we would come to the board and seek approval for that. So we're not asking for that tonight. Those are decisions that will happen in the future. This is just to approve the agreement to be able to do that. And I will say, it's highly likely that more likely we would offer help than receive help. There's a funding aspect here. A lot of this hurricane damage is reimbursed by FEMA. Us not being a public entity, we would have to get funds from the county. We can't guarantee that. However, if there's a utility down the road, a county, a city, if they're going to get reimbursed by FEMA, we would certainly consider helping them. Doesn't mean we have to. It means I'd have a discussion with Clinton. I'd say, hey, Clinton, do you have the resources to do this? Do you want to do it? We would have a discussion. If we felt like we thought it was a good idea, we'd bring it to the board and see if it would work. So this is just the framework for being able to, like I said, either help another utility or receive help. And the agreement spells out, how the provisions for reimbursement and the terms of how that help would be. And of course, it could be in the form of either labor, equipment, materials, could be anything. So we think it's a good idea. I asked Will to briefly look at the agreement. I don't believe he had any legal concerns. It's pretty generic. So yeah, it just gives us the ability to have those conversations and possibly help another entity or receive help after a storm.
Yeah, the fact that it's voluntary is appealing to me. Obviously, if there was a hurricane and we were strapped and could not afford or didn't have the resources to share, we wouldn't, obviously. But it's more of like, it seems to me it's more like a communication valve from the state that allows these entities to talk to each other during these crises. I personally think it's a great idea. Any questions from the board?
Yes, Mr. President.
All right, Ms. Reynolds.
Mr. Kriegler, is this a new concept so that we don't know who are members of this yet?
Oh no, this is a proven entity.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've been doing this for a while.
So are they from throughout the state of Florida, or are we primarily talking the Panhandle?
No, it's throughout the entire state, but it includes utilities in the Panhandle. In fact, some of our utility friends to the east in Walton County, they were heavily involved in this organization and heavily involved in some recent storm relief. So,
and piggybacking on Mr. President's comment, it's not only good for communication, it is almost an insurance provision, if you will, to get additional assistance in the event that we should need it or others. It's very similar to the fire departments and their mutual aid agreements. So this is a very good idea for risk management, for future planning, for strategic planning, et cetera, and I'll move for approval.
Okay. Is that a motion, Ms. Reynolds?
Yes,
We have a
move for
motion. All right.
motion for approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I did want to just echo what Mr. Krigler said, and just to reflect that legal review is not, it's not correct to say it was an NA. We actually did review the document, and so we have reviewed. I did want to point out in Article 4, again, that's a completely reimbursable expense, so you're not committing any money. And then I did also want to point out in Article 6, there is an arbitration clause in the thing. If there were a dispute, you would be agreeing to go to arbitration. I just want you to be aware of that. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You just should be aware that if there were a dispute, it's handled by mandatory arbitration.
And that's pretty standard, isn't it, Will, to have an arbitration clause in there? And probably a good thing, I think.
Well, it reduces the legal fees.
Yes.
That was politically.
Mr. President, I have another question.
Yes.
In the scenario that we have an impending storm coming in, for example, I see that the county now has sandbags available for these horrific rains, I guess, that are coming in. If that is the case and we're looking at a storm coming in here and Fla Warren comes to the system and says, can you give us 15 of your water utility people, you all will be in a position to say what?
Well, I think it's case by case. The majority of the way this happens is after the storm. So the storm will come in, there'll be damage, there'll be some assessments done by either the utility itself, or they'll get assistance to do the assessments, and then they'll start putting out what their needs are, and that's when we would hear from somebody. So it's really probably going to be more after an event that this really gets active.
Okay. And the reason I ask this question is because the Santa Rosa County Public Safety Director had been off-site for a considerable amount of time last month and part of the month before, and it put the county in in kind of an unsettling position because we had some things going on here. Thank you.
So from what I understand, Jeff, the Florida Warren, it's not an office that's there in the state. It's not manned. It's not no employees. It's just a network. It basically, it's a communication network where you can take all these utilities, put them all together, and if we have an issue or we need some help, we can go and quickly see who else is involved so that we can reach out to the closest utility nearby.
An example is when Michael hit down there in Mexico Beach, we actually took 2 generators down there and hooked them up for the place that's not what's just north of Mexico Beach, Fort St. Joe. Utility down there. We actually went to Fort St. Joe, and they were so destroyed that they couldn't even use them. So we took the community just to the north of them and left them there for about 2 weeks till they got back on their feet and then gathered generators back up. But we weren't officially a part of Florida Warren back then, but now we're trying to get in the network.
Yeah, I agree. It sounds like a good thing. After the freeze and Gulf Breeze was losing all that water, I came in and asked, were we helping? And it was kind of like they didn't ask. And I was like, so tell me we would help. And it was, yes, of course we would help. So.
And this is not limited to hurricanes. I mentioned that as the most likely scenario, but that's a good example you mentioned. It's not just hurricane. It could be anything. Yeah. There could be any type of event.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I will also add that this is significant progress, both communication and forward-looking, and we should either mention this to the press or do a press release on it, because that's
a great idea.
This is a feather in our cap.
Yes, that's a great idea. I would agree with you. All right, so we do have a motion and we have a second to approve, to authorize the board president to sign the mutual aid agreement for Florida Warren. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes. All right, looks like I'll be signing a piece of paper tonight. All right, I think that's a great thing, Joe. I'm glad you brought that up. I had no idea this was going on in the state of Florida, but it makes sense. In 2004, I was living in New Smyrna Beach. I got hit with Charlie, Francis, and Jean, all 3 of them. Yeah, right, came right across my house just about. So, yeah, that was a rough year. And then you guys had a rough year right after that. All right, so we're going on to the Club at Hidden Creek 2025 projects, improvement projects, Cart Path Edition. Mr. Krigler.
Yes, so this is an identified CIP project for the club. It involves additional cart path on holes number 2 and number 8. We budgeted about $20,000 for this in 2025, but given the overall CIP budget, which we're well under, there's plenty of room to do this work. We got quotes from two different contractors that have both done this kind of work at the course before. Haynes is happy with both of them, so we have the good contractors here. Yeah, and we got low bidder of $44,620 for quad state cutters to do the cart pass on number 2. And this is an extension of cart pass, so essentially hole number 2 is a pretty long hole there on 399. This would be as you come off the tee box, extending that cart path towards the green there, and then similar to on 8 as you come off the cart path, sending it down towards the hole on the right side of the hole there. You know, this is gonna. I think this is a good use of funds to improve the course. You know, there's lots of things we can do to improve the course. This one's pretty easy to agree on, we think. So we'd like to proceed with this.
I didn't see Mr. Linnell over here. Do you want to comment on this particular item? Okay. I'm going to recognize Mr. Don Linnell.
Thanks. Yeah, Don Linnell, 2586 Second Court, Navarre. Just a quick question. So does this project complete the cart paths from the tee to the green? I heard you say towards the green, but will there be a cart path all the way from the tee to the green on these two holes?
The quotes have the distance on them.
Yeah.
There's no way it's going to reach the green from there.
Number 2 is 300 feet and number 8 is 670 feet.
Yeah.
So eight might. 3 won't.
No.
Number 2 won't, but 8 might then.
Yeah.
So it might 8, okay.
8
Number
might.
I know number 2
is
not gonna reach the green, no way.
300 feet. Number 8 is 670 feet.
The 600 one on 8.
That gets close. That gets you
I
close.
think 8 might.
Yeah.
Yeah,
2
you're
is
right.
not.
Number 2 it won't.
No,
reach
definitely
all
won't.
right. Okay,
No.
that was all I had.
Yeah. But I know coming off that cart path on number 2, there's always kind of this mush and gunk, and can't grow any grass right there, so. All right, any other further discussion from the board or questions for Mr. Crigley?
I'll make the motion that we approve the bid to Quad State Cutters, the cart path project on holes number 2 and number 8.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes. How long, did they give you a timeline when they could have that approved?
They're going to try to get out there I think in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
And then it'll take them a couple
Good.
weeks to do it.
Good.
Take them how long?
Couple of weeks, I would think.
Golfers getting in the way.
All right. All right, moving right along, the next item on the agenda is the Messi insurance renewal. We'll go back to Mr. Criggler.
Yeah, so we got quotes to renew all of Messi's policies. Essentially similar coverage as last year, increased about $2,500. That's not, I don't think that shocks anybody. They did provide us with 2 options. And I think the main difference on the option has to do with the deductible on the professional liability. We're recommending option 1, which is much lower deductible on the professional liability.
Yeah, I noticed that, Bill, if I'm correct, all of your insurance for Messi's insurance is renews at the same time.
All at one time now.
All at one time. We finally got that.
Yep.
A good job there, excellent job. And the increase this year is I hate to say only
Right.
$2,500. I mean, at some point, like, insurance costs have got to stabilize.
I think it's actually less than what it says too.
Okay,
I think this time they're offering to write our additionally insured certificates for the next cycle as part of the fee, as opposed to $100 a piece like we paid in the past. So there's probably, I don't know, $1,000 worth of value actually
Okay.
that's added in there. So, but there's no changes to the policies. It's almost an insignificant increase.
okay. So it's pretty much the exact same policy as we had with a couple of,
We did have a change in the carrier on the professional liability. Our long-term carrier is getting out of the business in Florida, so we did switch that, but all of the rest of them are the same carriers we've had, same policies.
all right. Ms.
What is
Reynolds?
the coverage limit for professional
Sorry.
liability? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump
Sir?
in. The coverage for the professional liability, how much coverage do we
1
have?
million, 2 million?
1 million, 2 million, okay. Should that be higher though?
We have an umbrella that covers.
The umbrella, okay, all right.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes, Mr. President. Well, compared to what we saw last month, this is a very slight increase. There was only one of those policies that was, Mr. Niedermeyer said was flat. So this is not too bad. I'm new, and is this something that Messi pays for, or is this, yes, okay. Thank you for that clarification.
And I will also mention, if you actually look at the increase compared to the revenue change, you know, a large portion of our insurance cost is driven by how much work we do and what the revenue is. The insurance cost increase is really not reflective of the change in revenue between Holland Water Water System and the private sector in the last year. That might change back, but the insurance really doesn't reflect it. So.
Okay. All right, any other questions for Phil or Mr. Krugler? All right. All in favor to approve Messi's insurance policy renewals from Underwood Anderson as presented in the amount of $41,732.10.
Point of order, was a motion made?
No motion.
No.
I was
Okay.
going to ask for one.
So I will motion for approval.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Engineering monthly operating report. Mr. Phillips, anything engineering?
We don't know. You'll notice that there's no water loss report in the package this
I
month.
did notice that.
Because we still have an issue going on with what the program is reporting to Donna, and that is most likely affecting what you see, the excess wastewater we're seeing at the plant. That number is probably not accurate either. We just still haven't figured out what exactly has changed in the last couple, 3 months that's causing that. And
Do y'all need me to come help you?
Please. And the honest truth is, I stay as far away from it as possible, so Jeff or Clinton might be able to speak to it somewhat. I just don't know, but there is something going on there that we just don't understand, so. We're magically making water appear, if that makes you feel good.
No, it
Mr.
doesn't.
President, I have a question.
All right, Ms. Reynolds.
I know that you all are very bright experts in your
We think
field.
so.
Is there someone that could weigh in on this matter? I know that we had the same situation last month with no report on the water loss and stuff.
No sarcasm intended. A brand new accounting program would be nice.
And what is the name of that program? That
Oh,
is,
you're gonna have to talk.
Well, we haven't selected a new one yet. We're in the process of determining what we might want to do. We're reviewing our options for new programs.
We know enough to know, based on what the wells pump and the water we take from Fairpoint, that there is an issue there somewhere. Beyond that, we don't understand the water sold portion of the deal and where the inaccuracy is, or, quite frankly, whether it's not there and something has changed in the system and we're either not taking as much water for our own use or taking more. We keep looking and we can't find it.
is there a troubleshooter associated with that software?
They have a help
Sore
desk.
subject.
Yeah, I don't know. how
They don't
helpful it is.
respond to you.
Yeah, this is not a recent deal. We've been having trouble
Since we enacted the software we got, so.
And how recent was that software acquisition?
Summer of '22.
Is this aligned with the one I've heard you all
Yes.
disenchanted with?
Yes, that's what That's exactly what it
And Mr. Dunaway had talked about no real recourse or something of that nature.
basically.
I had said that there was no real economic recourse from a standpoint of, you bought it, so you can turn away from it and buy something else, but you bought this one.
And final question, what are our sunk costs with that software? What was our purchase price?
I don't have that off the top of my head. We'd have to put, sunk cost, I'd say
I want to say 220-ish, but that was for the-
220,000?
ballpark.
Boy, that is really sad. Okay.
Are we still under contract with the end of the year,
So
right?
5 years from summer
2022, so-
22.
Oh.
But by the time we do our selection and do some implementation, we'll be pretty close to
Okay.
20 to 26,
And
27.
what is the name of it, please, so that I can look up and see if there's any significant, similar issues across the nation for this problem?
It's
Edmonds.
Edmonds GovTech.
With an U, EDMUNDS?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Edmonds Golf Tech?
GOVTECH, I think is one word.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Ms. Reynolds, by the way, is excellent at research.
Oh, yes.
I guarantee you
This'll
she's
be
going to have
interesting.
something next
I'm
meeting
ready.
for us.
I am ready.
All right. Phil, thank you so much for that. And the next part of the meeting is the member forum, and I see we have Mr. Tom Kennedy from Jeremiah's Italian Ice here tonight. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Jeff, I've been in touch with Jeff about the impact fee. I'm sure you guys get this a lot. But let me just tell you a little bit about us. We're a little bit different in the community because we are community-based. Jeremiah's Italian Ice is a franchise, but I am a franchisee. I bought it. It's a mom and pop operation. My wife and I own it. My niece runs it. I just want you guys to know that we employ 20 part-time high school students from Navarre, one full-timer. We are community-based. We do spirit nights and ice night at the store weekly, all throughout the high school season, in the middle school and school year, and then into summer programs. We give 20% back to whoever has the ice night and whatever we sponsor at the schools and go to the schools and sell ice. It's all we have built in. We give 20% back. We write the checks to, not to the schools, to the individual clubs and whatever extracurricular activity there is. Also, we give out between teachers and military discounts, teachers, and we give out cards at the schools. You did something cool. If a kid gets a good grade, they get a free ice. So we are embedded in this community. All that adds up to about $15,000 a year in discounts. That being said, this impact fee impacts us greatly. We chose not to raise prices this year because of, let's face it, I sell ice cream and Italian ice. It's discretionary income. People are struggling. We made a choice not to raise prices, and I'll be honest with you, it's hurting us. Our P&L is, we're in the red so far this year. I could show you, I could share my P&L with you all. You can make copies of it if you want to see it. I have nothing to hide. That impact fee is killing us. Regardless how we got to that point, when I originally opened up the store, I thought the impact fee was covered, being that there was an ice cream store there before. Publix paid an impact fee, so I'm sort of like the third tier here.
Right.
And then I got whacked with that, like $8,000, almost, whatever it is, the bill, $8,500 or whatever it is. So I am asking for some relief on it. I don't want to, and this is by no means a threat or anything like that. I don't want to leave this community. We love this community. My niece lives in this community. It's just, it's a tough pill to swallow, man. I ain't gonna lie. It's hard. we're in the same crunch as you with insurance. We live, 5 miles within a tidal area, so my insurance rates literally jumped $10,000 last year. It was literally stifling, like, what? Aside from that, pay increases. As you all know, we don't pay our kids $8 an hour anymore. They're at $13 an hour. We have absorbed it all. So it is like, it's crushing. So when I get this bill, it's tough. And this might be the tipping point of where I'm at. And I can, like I said, I can share the financial info with you guys. A few side notes. We make Italian ice. So not all of our water is going down the drain. We make ice. And so that impact fee is a little bit off because of the sewage rates on that. Not all of our water goes down the drain. It goes into the ice. All of our stuff is triple filtered. We have equipment that does all that, hanging on the wall. Anybody wants a tour of my shop, you come on in, treat you to a nice. So that being said, I'm at your mercy to give us a little bit of relief on it. I'm not sure if other people have ever gotten relief or whatnot. I don't really care about other people's business. I just know what we do for this community, and we'd like to stay in this community. We're toughing it out this year, but unfortunately next year, January 1st, we're probably gonna have to raise our prices. We're just not gonna do it in the middle of season right now. It's just tough. So, I mean, that's my take. It's honest, it's pure, and
Okay.
whatever your feedback is.
Just stay right there if you don't mind, because Mr. Krigel had brought this to my attention, and we had talked, and really there's nothing we could do until you showed up, because he doesn't have the authority to make that decision.
Yeah, I had a family obligation last time, but I said I'd make
Yeah,
it.
no, it's fine. I appreciate you showing up. That's basically what I was saying. And I'll just say a couple of things real quick, and then we'll have some discussion between the board members. Our water system is certainly not in the business to put other people out of business. I mean, that's absolutely not what we want. We're a community-owned utility, and so the members of the community run this utility. I don't know if you know anything about me. I recently sold a business that I had for 5 years right across the street from you, and the Vine Wine Bar, you know, and so I completely understand the crunch you're in, you know, between the payroll going up and just the cost of everything. The cost of wine exploded a couple years ago, and then the food costs they're still going up.
Everything's gone
Yeah,
up.
it got me to the point where I was having to change my prices a couple times a year just to stay afloat. And $8,000 probably would have put me in the same spot you're in right now. So we discussed a couple of things, you know, because of the fact that most of your water is used for ice. That's correct, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's.
Do you have a percent?
My ice has got to come from somewhere. It's your water.
Do you know like what percent of the water use it does turn into ice? And
We make 24 5-gallon buckets every day.
okay,
So you can do the math and figure
Yeah,
that out.
okay.
But and that's every day. Plus we do events at the schools and the wait line for the school. We're there. I mean, you've probably seen us all over the place. We're always doing school events. We
Yeah.
really do a lot of everything through
Yeah.
schools.
no, and it's very
We're
commendable.
really plugged into Navarre High
Yeah.
and Holly Navarre Middle School and Intermediate School.
Yeah. Okay.
Plus, we give them coupons for like, you know, you did something cool at school, you got a great grade, they get a free treat. And, you know, that's our business model that we want to bring the parents in. We feel, you know, it's a good model. And, you know, Italian ice is, as we all know, there is a crunch out there. Everybody's feeling it. Gas prices go up and down. And unfortunately, I'm at the very far end of that realm where the first thing that goes when you lose your discretionary income is the treats, you know? And so I'm the first guy to get axed.
Right.
I'm not the fuel where you need the fuel to get to work. I'm the guy that's going to be like, I need gas to get to work. We're not buying the kids' ice tonight.
Yeah. Well, I understand, and I think me and Mr. Krigler had discussed it at some point, maybe. Do you have a breakdown on you right there of the how much the water system capacity fee is opposed to the sewer capacity fee?
I have
I
a
know the
letter.
sewer is quite a bit more.
The letter usage overage and additional impact fees. Water fee was $31.77, and sewer fee is $59.30.
Okay.
And
So I
some
thought-
change.
Yeah, I thought there was maybe something we could do about the sewage capacity fee, since it's not like that water's going back down the drain. But I'm gonna let some of my other board members chime in and maybe see if we can come to a solution here. And if we can't, maybe we can discuss it further and get back to you.
That'd be great.
Okay. So anybody else want to chime in?
Mr. President, of course, I'm new. I've served on a board for 4 years, and I still tell them I'm new, but you learn something new every day. Is this not something that could be incrementally? Do we not give them some latitude to make payments on
sure.
these
There is an
assessments?
option to finance 2 years.
Absolutely.
Two
Up to
2
2
years.
years.
So, Mr. Kennedy, what is your bill right now for the additional capacity fee?
It's almost, it's like $8,500, somewhere in that range.
So
And
you'll be looking at that again next year, similar?
I hope
similar
not.
one?
I think it's a
No.
one-time.
It's a
One
one-time,
time, okay.
Based on his
What I will
usage.
say is, what's a little bit confusing to me, and you guys know all the ins and outs, my average water bill is, say, between, just say average $225 a month, which comes out to, $3,500 a year, $3,000 a year, around there. I can't comprehend how this impact fee is quadruple what my water bill is. It's crazy to me. It's like, I pay $3,000 a year in water bill, and then I get whacked for another $8,000, and it's like, what?
So it's
crazy.
based on, and we changed the name of, it's not an impact fee anymore, because it's not about the impact, it's the water capacity fee, because in order to supply that kind of water to you, we have to do a lot of work in order to make it get there. And that work is very expensive. You heard some of the items tonight, you're talking about, just for a pipe, $200,000. So it's, and we understand, and believe me, I totally understand exactly where you're coming from, but because of the business that was there before didn't use near that much water, and now you're using that much water, and it's over what the original impact fee at that time was for.
But I
So
pay for that water as well.
You absolutely do, yeah, and absolutely, but there has to be, all the businesses are paying for all the capacity that we have. Same with the residential. A new house goes up, you have to pay that fee, because it takes that much work to get it done. So I thought, in my mind, I'm thinking maybe we could do something about the sewage system capacity fee. I don't think we can do anything about the water system capacity fee. Offer you some kind of financing to help pay for that, so you could spread it out over time. Maybe that would help.
And in full disclosure, I do have my utility contractor's license, so, for the state. Well, I had it, I just gave it up a little while ago, but I used to do this work in Orlando,
Okay.
so.
So you understand.
I get it.
Okay, all right.
But I've never seen fees like this, I'll be honest with you. Triple somebody's yearly bill. I mean, you get billed $3,000 for a year, and then you get an impact fee for $8,000. It's just,
Right.
the math just doesn't add up.
But you understand that 8,000 is for forever, until you close your business, or until you sell it or something, right? I mean, it's not like they're gonna continue to throw that at you every year. This is what, based on our numbers, and we've got plenty of guys in here that have been doing these numbers for quite some time. It's actually what we need to pay for the improvements in order to get the capacity increased. So, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, have you had any issues with water leaks or anything like that? Because
We did.
there was a review period. A year or so ago, you were probably sent a notice saying that, hey, this is what you're using, and have you done anything to?
We did. We finally found it.
Okay.
It was in between the walls of a fitting that was just a constant drip. Adrian mopped every single day, but we deal with freezers. We're checking our compressors, we're checking everything. Where is this water coming from? Where is it? We couldn't track it down. Finally, We had to cut a hole in the wall, and we finally found it. It was in between the wall, and it was running along the wall, so it wasn't even where we thought it was. But we did, and it has long since been fixed.
When did you fix it? After the first of the year? After December? Or last year?
No, it was this year.
It was this year.
It was this year.
I'm just, where I'm going with that is, I'm wondering if your water usage could be reviewed, I mean, maybe charge you a portion of it and review your water usage this year, review it again. It's going to get reviewed every year, but if next year, if it's lower, then we wouldn't charge you the rest of this. In other words, I'm leaning towards writing some of this off, but if the water usage stays up where it's at, then I don't think we can write it off if you're actually using that water. But if it was a leak and you're not using the water, then that's a justification for us to write some of it off.
There was only one leak, and we don't know it was there from the beginning of time because, our floors are wet because we make ice.
Sure.
But it was constant. We'd mop it up. Next day, we were checking the compressors, freezers, everything like that. But, we finally found it. It was in between the wall, and it was running along the, footer.
Mr. Kennedy, you said your monthly bill runs $225.
I'm just saying on average.
On average,
We are seasonal as well. So right now, our bill, I think this month my bill was over 300, but in the winter months, it's 185, 165, somewhere in there.
When you had the leak, what was your average monthly water bill? And what was the duration of the leak?
We don't know the duration of the leak. Until we finally seen it. It was coming into our bathrooms in the customer area, and we finally said it's not the freezers, it's not the refrigerators, the condensation. So I honestly couldn't tell you. I do know when we found it, it was a substantial drip. It was rolling on the floorboards. It just happened to be 40 feet away from where it was coming out at. So that's why we couldn't find it. We're like, there's no plumbing here, and there's no this, and we finally found it. And the GC that did the place came in and fixed it and said, yeah, there was a bad fitting.
I know where Carmen's going, but you can't do that math sitting here in the boardroom.
No.
Yeah.
If in fact part of why he's been charged was because he had a leak and he can show us that he paid for a leak to be fixed, if in fact he had a leak, he really never would have been entitled to be charged for the extra capacity. I would suggest
Thank you.
that we take a look at that. If he can tell us when the leak was fixed and show us that he actually fixed the leak, because you make everyone do that, then we can take a look and see, since he fixed it compared to previous years, what the water use was. And then that might be cause to either change the amount, or it is now July 15th. You could put him in abeyance until we rerun the numbers at the end of this year. Although I'd be careful on that too, because you don't want everybody asking for that same deal. But certainly if you fix the leak, that in my mind is...
By no means am I saying this is all because of the leak.
Right.
I want to be very clear on that.
Right.
We had a leak. I don't know how
Trying to
long the
help
leak
you.
was there, but we
Right.
did have a leak. I have pictures of the wall being opened. But I mean, I don't know how much, I can't tell you how much water.
Right,
we
but that's-
make. We make
that's-
ice, so we use water.
But that's going to skew the numbers, right?
Yeah.
And we know that, so maybe, I think Phil's going in the right
Phil's-
direction.
Well,
here.
Phil's
I
going
would
the
add
route.
though, the current usage is still high.
Yeah.
Because we did do a
Yeah.
review, and
Okay.
it shows there's no usage at night when the
Yeah.
business is closed, and there's usage during the day. So, I mean, even with the numbers now are high. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's been a steadily increase in usage. So we looked at that. We did a review, and when we first notified Mr. King, we said, we'll take a look at this again. We looked at the file, because we have had people with leaks, and we have done that exactly
Yep.
the same thing we're talking about. So we're not against doing that. It just didn't jump out at me, and not knowing the time frame when the leak he's talking about, I wasn't able to see that. But we didn't see anything jump out at us, at least in 24 and 25. And then, of course, just on the wastewater thing, just to reiterate, we have no way to measure the wastewater, so it's very hard for us to arbitrarily say, well, we can, at the staff level, forgive this portion of the wastewater. And of course, they've got the precedent issues with all these other businesses that have paid the wastewater fee, so there's just some difficulty with that, and that's why kind of where I hit a roadblock with it, so.
You might have a permit issue too with the water management, the water use permit. I won't even claim to remember what the revised language says there now, so I don't know.
Well, Board, I do want to remind you, and that is what Phil just mentioned, is that this came up because of your board policy that you put in place several years ago for commercial review of accounts. And the purpose of doing those reviews is to make sure that you are in your, in compliance with your permit. One of those compliance requirements is to conserve water and to ensure that you have the capacity to provide for the water for members who who ask and want to use it. So in this situation, a capacity fee is an initial cost that either a residential or a commercial business pays for the privilege of then purchasing water from you. It's not but I only use X amount of water. You pay the same capacity fee per the unit for that, but you pay for more capacity if you are projected to use more water. And if you pay a small capacity fee because your projected use is small, but then in your annual review, you find that they're not small, it's a large use, and that capacity should have been higher when it was initially connected, then that is on the member. And it is something to remember and worthy of reminding our members periodically that just like the due diligence when you purchase anything, one of the things you need to be asking for is what are the impact fees for, or the capacity fees for this business? And if you're buying a business that, had three tables and 12 seats, but it now is 145 seats, it's going to be a different capacity. And so you implemented that procedure we've gone through 2 full cycles, and you'll recall, those of you who've been here long, we had a whole bunch of folks at the, in an RV park that almost just, unbelievably was charged up, I think, 6 figures in that. And so you've worked through those. I think this is why we're here, because it was a use with a capacity charge that was small, and all of a sudden this use is greater. I mean, as he said, he's selling water in the form of ice, so naturally that's the product.
No different than a golf course or anybody else. I mean, they water their course, people go to play golf there.
Well,
So,
actually, actually that's a little bit different because we own the golf course and we need to put the water out because it is a spray field. I just want to remind the golfers that it's a permitted spray field, and we have to have that.
That's affluent that goes onto the golf course, so.
Also, I did ask about the impact fee. To imply that I didn't is not genuine.
No,
I did ask about, let me finish. I did ask about the impact fee when I moved in, when I did all my planning, and I was told that it was covered by the ice cream shop before. And that was it. I called, I asked about it, I said, and I spoke with the guy, he goes, "No, I think you're gonna be covered. There was an ice cream shop, you fall in the same parameters, and that's it." So, I mean, that's the truth, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What tier is he gonna fall in with the new proposed fees? Because his bill amount makes me
Fees
think
didn't-
he is.
The fees didn't change, the capacity fees didn't change.
Well, I thought we were selling to like 300, right, and then 300 to.
That's
gallons,
on
right?
that's the
Daily.
rates for usage.
That's
Those
what you're
change
talking
when we
about,
do a
the
rate,
rates,
because we didn't change the system capacity fee.
Not for
It didn't
the.
change. It's the same. It's based on ERUs.
Well, that's what I was getting at. He's gonna have to jump up another ERU or something, right?
That's what he's being
That's
charged.
what
That's
what
what
I'm saying.
that's what it was. That's what
That
he
covers
said.
him till, because Dave said he wouldn't have to pay again, but if he kept using, it would go up.
Well, he has to pay for water. I mean, but the system capacity fee is a one-time.
He would only have more in the future is if his
Keeps
business
using.
increases and he uses more water.
That's what I'm saying. So he's covered for how many more gallons though?
What he used in 2024, the average.
Same business. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really not a huge difference between 2024 and 2025. I don't have a drive-through, so I don't see it's skyrocketing anymore. It's just the shock, I guess, from the previous owner of Sweetberry to me. I guess that's.
I would take the idea that Phil had, which is to check another bill or two or wait till the next one. That's about where I'm
I'd say
at.
a partial abeyance on it. I don't know that I'd be in favor of, forgiving the whole thing, but, maybe if we, charged him half of it now and then, take another look at it when it comes up for review again, and is it January that they review those? So, we're in July now, and if the water usage is still, where it's at, then the other half of it would be due. But if your water usage due to fixing the leak and any conservation efforts you can do would bring it down, then you wouldn't get charged the other half. Is that?
That's what I'm trying to get at, that conservation's gonna be your key.
We pounded into for lack of a better term, but we drill our kids, turn off the scoop things. I mean, as much as we possibly
I
can.
totally get it.
But I mean, it's like a restaurant giving out water when you sit at the table. I mean, that's it's crazy. I mean,
You're going to use what you're going to use, but not having like faucets running.
No, we don't
that might help the situation between now and next January if we.
You irrigate? You don't have any irrigation.
No, I'm in the public shopping center, by the way.
Yeah.
It's right next to the firehouse.
Yep.
Trying to figure out where it is.
Right next to the firehouse subs, in between Stripes and Firehouse subs.
I've been to your place, it's good.
Thank you. Appreciate your business.
Of course.
So I think there's a lot to think about. I don't know if we're going to come to an agreement or solution tonight, Tom, but I think what we can do is, as a board, we can have some discussions and have a decision for you next meeting.
Yeah,
Is
no,
that
So you're
fair?
not going to shut off my water come August 1st?
if they say not to, we
I would
won't.
say we won't
No.
shut off
No,
your water. Yeah, I think with the leak, that brings up
Yeah,
another issue.
we'll
and
review that leak
Yeah.
issue, see if there's anything to that, how that affects the data.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of compassion for you because, I own a small business in this town as well. And it's painful. Yeah, it's painful, a bill like that. So, I think what we'll do is we'll table it for now.
I also do want to say another thing. I've been approached several times when I've talked to people about the bill, other businesses, and I refuse to go down the road of the press and all that before I have a chance to speak to you guys and talk to you guys. I've been asked about it. People wanted to write an article about it, and I'm like, no. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going down that road. I'd rather do my due diligence, come in front of you guys, tell you my situation, and ask for some understanding
I appreciate
and that kind of stuff. I don't believe in that kind of stuff until we do all that, until I at least have a chance to come speak and talk to you guys.
Well, I
I
think
don't know why there's a lot of people out there that just are angry, I guess.
there's a lot of angry people in this town.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
And there's a lot of great people in this town.
there is.
So I think, personally, my motion would be to let's hold off on any kind of, water shutoffs for now, and let's have sometimes the customer service issues, you gotta have to meditate on for a little bit before you get a solution that's good for everybody. And I think we're willing to work with you.
If I could supply you guys with financials or anything you guys need, if you want to come take a look at the shop and see what goes on, feel free to.
Okay, thank you.
I think it has as much to do with, we can't set a precedent where we bend the rules for one person and not for other people and that kind of thing, but your situation is, does have some unique characteristics, I guess, to it that we want to consider. I'd like to maybe have staff come back with a couple of different recommendations on what we might be able to do to.
We take pride in this community. We do a lot for this community, so that's why we chose to go this route and come speak to you guys as members of this community to maybe see your way to see a little different. We give back a lot, so.
And we
just
appreciate
take that
it.
All we do is ask, take that into consideration.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. We appreciate that very much.
Mr. President,
Yes, Ms. Reynolds.
I heard Mr. Kennedy say that he had repairs done, and for proper documentation and reference for future actions of this board, it would behoove us to have that a photocopy of the repair so that we can say we did our due diligence and we have some frame of reference for a future action.
Sure, I can get that from my GC. He didn't bill me or anything because it was his stuff inside the wall. It was one of his plumbers, but I'm sure he can write something up, but I can supply that with the photos, so there is photographic evidence of it. So
That's
that won't
fine.
be a
Yeah,
problem.
just the repair is fine.
Yeah.
I think that's all we need.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes, yeah. So is that,
Thank you.
do we need to make any kind of a motion for that, Jeff?
Mr. Chairman, I was wondering if I heard the motion was for staff to come back next month with recommendations after getting documentation from the member and to not shut the water off until the board made a decision.
That's what I heard too.
That's kind of what we collectively said. I don't know that I said all of that, but that's my motion.
Okay. And I'll second that.
All right. Any further discussion from the board? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Will. Thank you very much. And now we come to, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
We have
Board
another
member
member form?
forum.
Unless I somehow screwed up, I put my name on the.
Oh, you're on that. Oh, you already spoke. I'm sorry. All right. Yeah, let's go. All right. Mr. Don Linnell. Apologize, Don.
Won't be long.
Herman's got some.
Yeah, Don Linnell, 2586 Second Court. So June 29th, I sent an email to the board with some thoughts on election issue, for lack of a better word. And I just want to read my email that I sent in, just so it's in the records. And I'll do that real quick, and then I won't do my best not to editorialize anything I've said in here. Might correct a few typos, but it'll be mostly word for word. And then there's one question I was asked in response, and I'll address that question. So directors, this is the email I sent. Directors, my understanding of the Holly Navarre Water System election policy is candidates for the board of directors must, among other requirements, meet the member qualifications called out in Article 5, Section 3 of the bylaws. That is, be a member in good standing. The policy defines member in good standing as a member who pays their water bill. There have been discussions in the past to add requirements addressing character traits. As being current on your water bill seems a very low bar for someone wanting to be responsible for the overall management of a nearly $100 million business. It's understandable and easy to say candidates should meet some standard of personal character traits, but much harder to fairly and impartially define them, and likely harder to legally enforce them. The unfortunate hoopla still ongoing from the recent election has a silver lining, as it has highlighted a truly valid requirement that needs to be added. Specifically, a member may not be a candidate for the board of directors if they have ever been removed for cause from the board of directors in accordance with Article 8, Section 6 of the bylaws. Just to expand on that paragraph, that means at a meeting of the members, they were voted off the board by the members present, okay? I can't think of a more objective, relevant, disqualifying requirement than being removed from the board of directors as a result of member voting at a properly noticed member meeting. You could discuss ad infinitum, if I said that right, a multitude of other possible issues to disqualify members, but I believe this is the only one whose basis could be found in the bylaws themselves. I recommend the board consider adding this requirement to the list of required candidate qualifications for the upcoming and subsequent elections. I would also like to see this on the agenda for the regular board meeting in July to allow for member input. That was it. So a question that I received back in that is, everybody knows right now from the past election, only one person was voted off the board. So this would only affect, from the time being, one person. I meant forever. So I don't know if anybody's been voted off before. Immaterial right now to me. But it only affects one person. But I was asked, what if the vote had gone the other way? You know, what if the 5 people who, and I was one of them, who thought they were doing the ethical, the moral, and the right thing to maintain election integrity, what if that was their crime and they were voted off? Would this account to them, apply to them? And my answer was absolutely. The only thing I could add is life's not fair. You know, you get screwed from time to time doing the right thing. If we can't get enough members out to vote what some of us thought was the ethical thing to do, you can't do anything about it. You have 2 choices. You can either do nothing and allow anybody who wants to do anything ever just do it. Or you can maintain the stance that election integrity matters. Certainly wish it wasn't costing the water district what it is, water company. It's unfortunate, but there was something else I was going to say, and what the heck was it? Oh, yeah, the other thing. So I also encourage the board, as you're going forward and going over the election requirements and election policy and rules, to maintain the only proxies are the ones from here. Maintain that. You know, if ultimately the judge in his finite wisdom says, hey, you did that wrong, I don't care about election integrity. My words, not his, but I'm being a little sarcastic. You know, you can't do that, then fine, you'll find out. But I would say going up to that date, just maintain the course and say the best thing we can do is the only proxies are the ones out of here. And that's it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Don.
Thanks, Don.
Yeah. All right, you make a good point, Don. When I got the email, I personally, I'm going to wait and if another board member wants to pick that up and run with it, I'm more than happy to put it on the agenda. I think you know how I feel about it myself, yeah.
I think it'll come down to the result of the litigation. I think it's going to come down to our coming up with election procedures for 2026. And I think it's, you know, a big consideration is we've got to make sure that we that our policy is in line with our bylaws and that we're not, you know, prohibiting somebody from the opportunity of running for the board. We've had that discussion before. Can we require them to provide bios? Can we require them to do a background check? You know, if they're a convicted felon, can we prevent them from sitting on this board? You know, there's nothing in the bylaws that says you just have to be a member in good standing. So, you know, what all restrictions can we put on people running for the board? So that's where we're going to have to really look at that when we come up with our election procedures for next election.
I can tell you this, you know, whatever the judge decides in this case, obviously we're going to have to follow the ruling, but we are still going to do everything we possibly can to make sure that the elections here are fair and and have, we're going to keep the integrity of the election, no matter what we can do. But it all, right now, obviously, it's all up in the air till the judge's decision. But I agree with you on a lot of your points, for sure.
Mr. President?
Reynolds?
Yes. I totally agree that we will have to wait until the outcome of the hearing, September the 11th. But I am in full support of ensuring that the incumbents of this position on the board, that those candidates are of the utmost integrity. We do not want to revisit the past with the problems in the headlines with the former CEO and the lack of scrutiny that ensued there. So I have made some copious notes of Mr. Linnell's discussion, and Ms. Anal Retentive will circle back after the hearing, and we will address it again at a future time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else have any feedback or thoughts?
Mr. Chairman, if you would like, I can provide you with a analysis of Mr. Linnell's request so that it can inform the board for its discussion prior to any action that you may want to take, so that we are following both the statute and the bylaw.
Okay. That would be great, Mr. Dunaway. Thank you so much. All right, if there's nothing else, we get to the part of the meeting where we get to go home.
Move for adjournment, Mr. President.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. 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 Meeting's adjourned.